In this video, or this series of videos, we're going to look at quality management. So the first thing we're going to do is a quality overview of quality. What is it? So you'll recall this from previous videos. This shows the time and other processes. So we've got our work packages from our scope planning process. Then for each work package we need to estimate the resourcing, durations, how we're going to procure or obtain those resources. So that's one side of the table. On the other side is for each work package there is requirements, things that need to happen for it. So we need to make sure that that work package is done properly. That's what quality planning is all about. That if the work package includes some communication, that we're doing that communications properly. If it involves hazards, that we are actually addressing those hazards and doing the work safely. And if there is a threat of that work package to the environment, that we're implementing environmental planning processes as well. So these communication, safety and environmental planning requirements of a work package, they may not be there for all work packages, but quality is probably there for most. Okay, so quality is quite important. So let's look at what quality is. And quality, there are lots and lots of definitions of quality, and it really comes down to what you're talking about. Are you talking about a design? Are you talking about a construction project? Are you talking about a computer project to upgrade a computer system? Are you talking about providing a service? Whatever. So let's just look at that, the generic version. So the quality is the degree to which the characteristics of a product, service or result. Remember, products, services and results are what comes out of a project, what a project is being undertaken to produce, to fulfill the project requirements. So the product is a physical thing, remember. A service is you're doing something for someone, and a result is obviously a result of it. So an example would be a product would be a bridge or a road. A service might be producing a design for that bridge or road, and the result might be, say, obtaining consents for that bridge or road or whatever. So that gives you an indication of what those things are. So the quality is have you actually done, does the project actually do what it's supposed to do? Now you need to distinguish that from grade or standard. Okay, those are things that oftentimes when lay people are talking, they confuse with quality. So you might see a sports car and say, oh, that's a quality sports car. But an engineer would say, well, it depends on whether you're trying to impress someone or whether you're trying to have an efficient way of getting around. If it's an efficient way of getting around, it's not a high quality way of transportation because it costs so much. So it comes down to the circumstances. So if someone's saying that's high quality sports car, what they're saying is it's a high grade or a high standard sports car or a high spec sports car. And so grade is the category or rank to distinguish items. So a Porsche is a high grade car, whereas a Toyota is maybe a medium grade car. So another way of looking at that is an example. So we've got this thing here, this bracket. It's that's a column, and then those are beams, and the bracket sort of holds it all together. And you can see it's on a veranda, so outside of a house, holding up the outside roof portion. And so you can get these in two different materials. So you can get it in galvanized steel, which is steel with zinc coating over top of it, which costs $30 for each one of those brackets. So it would be, and you've got stainless steel, which is a different material, and it costs over twice as much, $70 per bracket. So you could say that the galvanized steel is a medium grade product. It's not the best, whereas the stainless steel is the best. You can get the best material for that particular bracket. So you can say that it's high grade. But whether it's high quality or not depends on the circumstances to use. So if it's normal use, say a house just sitting, in the middle of Glenfield or inland or something like that, then you could say that the galvanized bracket is high quality. So you're doing the job for a reasonable price, for the lowest price you can. Whereas you could say that the stainless steel bracket would be an overkill. It's gold plating it. You don't need to spend $70 on a bracket because you can do the same thing for a $30 bracket. So you could say it's medium quality. It's doing the job, but you could do better. However, if you're talking about an adverse environment, so a house right next to the beach where there's lots of salt around, a corrosive environment, you could say that the galvanized bracket is low quality. In other words, it'll probably start rusting, it'll decay, might take 10 years or so, but that would be less than the time that you'd want it to survive for. So you could say that it's low quality because it's not going to do the job, it's not going to survive for the 50 years that it should. Whereas a stainless steel bracket would be a high quality. In other words, it is an appropriate material for that particular environment. So grade sort of stays the same. The material is the material, but the quality, the judgment of whether something's high quality or not, varies according to the circumstances. So as an engineer, you need to distinguish between grade and quality. So for construction quality, a real simple way of doing it, this is just my definition, is the completed works meet the requirements. Now generally in construction there is a contract document that tells you what the requirements are. The designer, the consultant, would have gone through, found out from the client what they want and designed it and picked the right materials and that sort of thing. So the contract document has the drawings where everything's supposed to be, what sort of thickness everything is, and the specifications, the material and workmanship requirements for the project. So that is your principal source of what do I need to do to achieve high quality for this project, for this construction project. But there are other things such as consent conditions, laws and regulations. You have to meet those. Stakeholder requirements. So for example, there might be neighbours. Have you managed to do it with minimal nuisance to the neighbours, for example? Your company quality system would sort of also say you actually what you need to do. And then there'll be standards and codes of practice. They may be referred to in the specifications or they may be external, but they may still apply to what you need to do when you're constructing that particular project. And so all of those things contribute to whether a construction project is high quality or not. Okay, but in particular there is what is in the contract document that has precedence over everything else. And then there's design quality. So the design product meets the client requirements. And you'll recall these top ones here, the client brief, the consultancy agreement, the stakeholder requirements. We do all that in the initiation part of the process. So you'll remember in the initiation and scope management part of things, scope planning, we were trying to determine exactly what the client wants and how are we going to best meet those requirements. So that is really quite an important part of it. Now you can carry on and do the best design possible, but if you do not get those requirements right, then you're not going to produce a high quality product because it doesn't meet the client requirements, because you haven't defined what the client requirements are. Now there may also be consent conditions, laws and regulations that you need to meet. There'll be guidelines and standards and codes of practice which dictate how the industry requires you to produce the design. There would be your own company's quality system, determining how you're going to check it, how you're going to make sure that you're actually achieving those requirements, and the client's organisation standards. So for example, NZTA, the New Zealand Transport Agency, who own and manage the state highways in New Zealand, they have their own set of specifications saying exactly how they want you to construct the road. What type of base course to use, how it is to be compacted, how thick it is supposed to be, and all that sort of stuff. So you need to be considering those. So all those things need to be considered if you are to produce a quality design to meet the client's requirements. Okay, in the next video we're going to look at the specifics of how we're actually going to achieve these requirements.